Welcome.
Yo.
Podcast. Safety.
Epic.
Third.
I was gonna ask if it started yet, because I gotta go.
No,
You gotta
just
go-
go pee, whatever.
you gotta what,
We'll-
Kevin?
You go do it. You go do what you need to do. Bring the camera with you. Show us your toilet.
Show us what you're working with,
Well,
Kevin.
that's for the Patreons.
Just
That's
go
for-
pee.
that's-
Go pee.
That's extra Patreon
Go
content.
pee. I can't believe you were the person that was the most late to the recording, and yet you still didn't go pee. It's Valentine's Day, and this is what we're doing. This is a date?
Four-way
Are we on a
date.
right now?
4-way date.
Yes. Wait, you said we were on a date earlier,
What?
though, Nigel. Look at now, you want to be charming and.
Not with you.
Oh, yeah, you're going
It's
to date
like-
with me if there's other
It's like
people
when someone asked you what you're doing some night and you're like, oh, I might be busy or whatever. Then someone with better plans asks you what you're doing.
there. I'm
and
free,
you're suddenly
baby.
completely free.
So what you're saying is you did not have better plans for Valentine's Day than doing a podcast.
I probably could have found better plans. But these were the best plans that I didn't have to work for.
What you, Bernard?
Well, I had a late.
What
I
kind of a
know,
loser
right?
records a podcast
I had a
on
late work
Valentine's
day,
Day?
so that's why I'm still like wearing the. And sitting in a gaming chair, like with.
Ghost goblin.
Wait, Bernard, I thought it was funny when you said, you're like, Monday's Valentine's Day. Are you guys still going to record a podcast? I actually laughed at that question.
Well, it was like a cry laughter,
Yeah.
right?
No, I'm saying, like, I just laughed. I'm like, do you have any clue who you're talking to?
Well, hey, so we got a married guy on here,
The
and then
love
we got
guru
Kevin,
himself.
who's in a long-term relationship, right?
Kevin probably should be married. I bet you the courts would probably
Common law.
consider them common law marriage. Yeah.
No, you want to know why I'm single is because I did a podcast on Valentine's Day.
No, Sandra will understand. Actually, I don't know.
Sandra, do you understand? No, she doesn't because she's gone.
Oh, no.
Oh,
that's even
perfect.
worse.
She's gone to the store to get something
Yeah.
for Valentine's Day.
Cucumber and Vaseline for Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin's like, oh, no.
I've become like a foods YouTuber at this point. Like I bought.
Oh
yeah,
no,
I
are you
got
buying
a sous
gizmos?
vide, I got a smoker, a
kitchen
pellet
gadgets.
smoker, and then I'm gonna be doing some food stuff.
Wait, just
Wait,
I am.
I thought you were in an apartment. How are you gonna use a
I mean, you're gonna
pellet
use it
A
smoker?
indoors.
smoker.
Right?
Your neighbors are
You're
gonna
use it
hate
indoors.
you.
How else would you
Huh?
use it?
I didn't think you could use smokers
not?
indoors
No.
because they're
you'll
like
die.
big. They're like the size of a.
Look at his
Editor,
face.
pull
You
up
can see that's like a
pictures of- type in
shit-eating
barbecue
smirk he's got.
smoke.
There's
Okay.
no problem here. You know, just leave it running. It's okay. Just open the window.
Do you just like vent the smoke
I mean,
outside?
the smokestack.
I can't tell if he's
So
serious.
yeah,
He's
no,
probably gonna do it on a
put
patio.
the smokestack. Put a tube on the smokestack, and then put it out the window, and then leave the window open, and it's all good.
what if there's a leak?
Drill a hole
What if
through
there's
the
a leak,
floor.
Bernard?
Drill. Well, no, you don't put it out the window. You drill a hole through the floor to your neighbors above you. You vent the smoke into their apartment.
Oh yeah, no, you do it in
Yeah,
the bathroom
yeah.
and you turn the bathroom fan on.
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
Smoking.
Well, so
Yeah.
you have a balcony then? You gonna do that?
Smoking in the bathroom.
I don't
What
know.
are you gonna
Smoke some
smoke?
ribs. I'm gonna smoke some burgers
Smoke
to
some
start.
meats.
So this is the
You
first time I've
smoke-
ever done this, right? So I'm legit a foods YouTuber at this point because
Yeah.
all my videos are about people eating food. So I might as well cook it and eat it myself too.
Yeah.
You know?
This man ate Bernard's cooking, and this is
This
what
man
happened.
smoked meats in his apartment.
Oh,
this-
dude, can you do a smoked meats one and put a picture of Mark Zuckerberg's face in the thumbnail? This man smoked meats.
And lost $230 billion in stock.
I like how the money just like made its way to Amazon right the next day. Like whatever was lost, like
Is that what happened?
did it
'cause,
really?
like,
I didn't see
I
that
think
part of
Amazon
the
went up
saga.
200 billion the next
I
day or
should've bought
something.
Amazon.
I mean,
It all this highlights to me is how garbage and nonsense the stock market is if you're trading like in
Yeah.
the short term, because everything went down.
Yep.
Yeah, and then everyone was freaking out because Amazon was down, and they're like, oh wait, it was down like 18% or something, and then they're like, oh, but in aftermarkets it jumped, so now it's up 5%, and you're like, that's not that's not like normal.
This
I
It
have
just- it
always
was a
okay. If
vertical
you look
line.
at like
It's recovery.
I don't understand. I mean, I feel like when you say you don't understand the stock market, I'm pretty sure there's actually nobody who understands
No.
the stock market, because if they understood the stock market, they would be very rich.
Yeah.
But like,
Warren Buffett maybe understands.
No, but I think he openly states
You-
that like you can't. Here's
all you can do is sort of try your best to think about what you think will be valuable in the future. Like, here's, if you think back in the old days, like what was the stock market when it was invented?
Oh, like the Dutch when they created the fact that you can you can actually divide your organization so that other people can own part of it, right? And then that way, then
yeah,
you
you
right.
could do
So,
stuff with money.
You get like
Yeah.
extra money. Like
Right.
extra
So
capital.
it was a way to facilitate investing money, because they realized it was beneficial. Like, instead of holding cash in a bank, it's super beneficial to be able to use the money to make more money, because it like stimulates the economy. But it's very difficult to like start a new business. So it's like, oh, I've got more money, so I have to start a new business. Like, it doesn't really work. That doesn't work well. So instead, you could sort of invest in other people's ideas, and that would like stimulate the economy. And so you sort of would think to yourself, okay, if I buy part of this guy's idea, which I think is really good, he can then use this money to start the business, and then I will have part ownership of the business. And if the business becomes valuable, I own part of it. And then what's the stock market today?
Gambling.
It's gambling.
It's straight up gambling. Oh, I think this they're gonna do good and make me a lot
Kevin,
of
tell
money.
us how you do stocks. Or should I
I
should
buy,
I
I buy high,
ask you a
buy
question
high,
and-
sell
that's
low.
Kevin's official technique.
That's my secret for you guys. Be careful with this very powerful information.
I have the only way I can describe, like, every time I talk to the CPA, I'm like, I am dumb. Tell
Accurate.
me, like, I am 5 years old. I'm 5. I'm a dumb 5-year-old. If you don't give me an explicit list of things to do, I will screw it up. Like, I don't want to have to think about it. I don't have to figure it out. Like, the way I describe YouTube is I like making things and I like making videos. And all of a sudden, this business formed around it that I have no idea how to run.
Oh, dude, exactly.
And
I
like,
have no idea.
Kevin.
do you know what you have to do? If you form a business entity, it's a cat hair in my mouth. You
Yep.
have to pay yourself, but
Yeah.
you have to withhold Social Security. So what I do, that I did way too late, the CPAs finally made me do it, is I pay a company $65 a month so that they can pull money out of my account
Yep.
and then send it to me in a check. Or they
Yeah,
actually
but they also
electronically
split
deposit
up the
it.
taxes too. So like they're
Yeah, they withhold everything for you.
yeah, like they're an administrative company, and so like it's super important, because if you miss the filing and then the IRS comes after
Right.
you when you file next year, now you got to pay interest on what you missed plus the penalty, right?
Yes.
You know what happened to me?
So I am the owner, and I'm the sole employee. And we take money from the account and put it right back into the account. And
I
I,
know.
pay
It's like-
$65 a month to do that.
Wait,
And you have to do it. You could do it yourself,
It's
but
really
it's
annoying.
like that's way more complicated. Yeah.
you
I don't
know what
do it.
happened to me?
You have to do it. Like, or the IRS is going to come and crawl inside your butt one day.
I find the quarterly thing is such a weird, it's
You get paid
well, I
quarterly?
have to now because the government changed it.
You're supposed to.
But it's like it's weird because on YouTube, for the most part, it's like as your channel grows, the total income grows usually. So let's say, making up a number, let's say like 1 year, but just for round numbers, like you get 100K for, let's say, year one. The government assumes you'll make
Right.
at least 100K the next year, and they go, well, quarterly, then you're making 25K a quarter. But the problem is then January, you don't make that much. Like the first quarter is just crap.
Right.
So then you didn't even make very much, but they tax you on more money than you actually made.
Oh,
It's
they
estimated tax
extrapolate.
though. So here in the U.S., you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pay it, and you can pay it in the hopes that you won't get the penalty, just in case you do make more in that quarter one of this year than quarter one of last year.
Yeah.
But in some cases, when you're starting to make less and less, when you file the next year, you can make a case to the IRS and say, like, look, my quarter one was like 90% lower than the year before. I couldn't pay that estimated tax, right? There's also like other cases where you accidentally make too much money, right? Let's just say you have,
Accidentally. Oops.
right?
I hate when that happens.
No, but like
Yeah.
you have a video go like massively ultra viral, and it for some reason has like ads that are paying like $100 CPMs or something, right? Just as an example, like
That's 10 billion
they'll
views.
extrapolate
with
that
$100
future.
you have a
CPM.
video like it just instantly gets to like 20 million views by accident. You're just like, what is this, right? Now, like let's just
That's what I'm saying, in December or
Right.
November. So they think that you're like, your company's really killing it, and then January you have
fall off
crap
the cliff.
videos with a terrible
Then
CPM.
you actually die. You're killing it in December. And
No,
then actually
but think about
die
it, right?
in
Like if
January.
something goes ultra viral, and let's just say you make like a couple $100,000, like you make the whole year's, like from January to October, you make that in 1 week in November, right?
Yeah.
So you've doubled your income,
Right.
right? And so it like I've thought about that, and like let's just say somebody doesn't know how to manage their money really well, and they're like, oh, I have all this money, time to buy a Lambo, time to buy all this other stuff, and then at the end of the year, like at the end of the tax year when they have to file, they don't have cash on hand, and now they have to like take a loan to pay tax.
They have to figure out how to pay their tax
I've been trying to
bill with a
figure out how to pay my
Lamborghini.
tax bill with a credit card because I wanted the points, but I haven't figured out that
Speaking of
scheme yet.
Lamborghinis, I participated in a scheme
No.
and I won a Lamborghini. I'm not even
Is
kidding.
it the Mr. Beast thing?
It is.
Would you? Well,
Uh,
yeah.
I got the
there it
small Lamborghini.
Wait,
is. I could.
I tried to sign
that
up. but
custom
how much was
pack-
It says
Like
everybody.
Canadian.
I don't know if this is back. Is it? Can you see this the right way?
No,
or
is
is
that
it
custom
backwards?
packaging?
Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
went all out.
Looks
Even
good,
got the
honestly.
choking warning. Okay.
Honestly,
Dang.
that's better than getting the middle-sized one. Which
Wait,
is
so
like
Mr.
the
Beast
Power
gave that
Razor.
to everyone?
You have to sign
Dude, I
up.
wish I had the. I would rather.
And did you know about this? Like, you
You
sign
could
up
buy
and
it,
you either
right?
get that, like I think like a little Lambo motorized thing you could sit in or something, like a bigger toy, or
Razor.
an
yeah, an
actual
RC car,
Lambo.
the mini one.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
What,
giving away 4 Lambos total. Actual
So,
Lambos.
how much did you pay for that?
$35.
$35, and they had 100,000 entries. So
Wow.
That's sort of outside of. I mean,
Wait, you can't do
Just
35
3.5
times
million?
let me do
100,000?
this. Yeah, I thought it
Well,
was.
hey, so,
that's-
like, a
that's
lot
what
of-
I thought it was.
I just want to
when-
make sure that's a lot of zeros.
So
to
when
add up.
Jimmy gives like straight money away, like the one part of the video that you don't see that I'm like 100% sure his accountant is like saying like you have to get their social security number, like they have to pay taxes on the money, right?
There has to be some behind the scenes stuff, like just learning
Yeah,
stuff about taxes like that, where like I kind of like accidentally.
Dude, I don't know if Jimmy actually does a lot of that,
Like,
honestly.
it's just in my head thinking about all the numbers that he has to go through, like his accountants. It just kind of hurts me. Like,
So with this was an actual sweepstakes. And if you went on the website and you looked at the terms and conditions, they said if you do win the Lambo, we're gonna fax you some paperwork for the taxes. You're gonna have to fax it back to us before we ship it to you. So, like,
So
an
this
actual
is-
sweepstakes is one thing. Like, you got to do
Yeah.
it legit.
There
But if you're doing it
is-
like a kind of sweepstakes,
there's a way to do it. I don't, because I think we actually asked Jimmy about this. I don't remember exactly what they said, but
well, it's
there
like the
is-
Mr. Beast thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Squid Game thing. If you buy a
Right.
T-shirt, you get a chance to be in Squid Game.
I mean, there's like
is that
local
a-
regulatory
is that a
stuff
sweepstakes?
about
What is
that,
that?
right?
yeah, there's organizations that will handle this for you apparently, and because it's a really good idea. It's sort of like you can essentially do something bigger, and I don't know. I just it's kind of fun to like I like the idea of a sweepstakes, but you have to be careful because you technically can't have it be only buy-in. So there's
Yeah.
organizations that will help you do the back end of this where they will have the loophole available, which is writing in. You have to submit a request.
Yeah, with this one, you could write a postcard and send it in to the people to get your chance of winning a Lambo.
I wonder how many people actually do that though,
I would love to know.
because it's
'Cause
probably
they said
not a
you could
lot.
do 10 write-ins. One
Right.
person can do up to 10 write-ins.
And but the thing is that they could give you like 35. You could probably get 35 write-ins for buying the car itself, or maybe 100 write-ins. So it's like you can do it by hand, but your statistical chance it's like pointless. It's like, why even do it? Plus you have to go through the effort of mailing it and everything like that.
Yeah, but
So-
if someone's going to spend like, $350, $3,000 on toy cars, like
Yeah.
that's a gamble.
Yeah. There's a way though with the prize money, depending on how you do it, where it's a gift or you can pay the taxes. So, like I've asked people about this, like I don't know if this is too much detail, but like
like
David
on
Dobrik gives cars away.
PayPal.
Kevin,
If
Kevin,
you
that's
buy
a
something on
loophole.
PayPal and someone's like,
Just send
No,
it as
no,
a
no,
friend.
no, that's different. That's different. That's PayPal charging, I think.
No, like if
I
I
think.
give,
when you buy a car, when you sell a
Yes.
car on Craigslist, and they're like, just put it as $0, so I
but
don't have
I
to pay
don't.
taxes on
So
it.
I think there's technically, for example, like if I was American, just to make things easier, if I were American, and I was like, hey Kevin, I bought a Tesla, let's have a contest, and like you and Will and Bernard are the only contestants, and you win a Tesla. I can't just go like, oh, the loophole now is I'm selling it to you for $1. You have to pay taxes on the market value. So it's like whatever the book market value is,
Yes.
you owe the taxes because that's your capital, like that's your gain, right? Because you could turn around
You
and sell it.
you can
for that
always
much.
kind of lie about that. Like with a used car that sort of has a more ambiguous
Yeah.
value, you can usually get away with saying a much lower number.
Yeah, this car was full of farts.
Yeah.
The seats,
Really
seats
car
were
was-
horrendous.
Chicken nuggets.
$1.
Yeah, this one had an old chicken nugget. That makes the value go up, Bernard. What are you talking about? You can do so. Like one of the things that I like tried to figure out, look into is like when let's say like David Dobrik gives away a car
It's
to
pretty
somebody.
complicated, yeah.
That's like the first thing in my mind is like, how do they handle the tax stuff? So the answer is because one of my friends who's gotten one of the cars, I asked about, did you have to pay the tax? Because they didn't know, and I'm like, you need to figure this out because this is not gonna it's gonna come tax season, and you have this car that costs
Like extra
$50,000.
$20,000.
Yeah,
surprise.
exactly. You're gonna be like hit with this like $15,000 to $20,000 tax bill. I don't actually know what it would be. Probably 15. You need to figure it out right now. It turns out that they did pay. There's a special form that you can fill out when you're giving something like that away, where you can pay the tax. So David, instead of paying $50,000 for the car, paid like $50,000 for the car and then another $15,000
Yeah, like you end
in
up-
tax or something.
It's
like
kind of weird. Like, yeah, if the
Nice.
car's worth $50K, David ends up paying, like closer to 70 or something.
that. Yes, right. It's really kind of bizarre. I don't know exactly how it works, but it does end up making it much more sense. Oh, Jimmy. Oh no, Jimmy. Oh no.
Jim Jams.
He just gets in the way of everything.
Or you can just commit fraud, I
there
guess.
it goes.
Jimmy, no.
Well, Nigel, I have a question for you, Nigel. Can you make you've seen people make computers like mechanical computers or like water computers. Could you make a chemistry
I don't know what
computer?
you mean. What's a water
You could.
What do you mean a
I don't
water
know either.
computer?
I just thought you would know. Like they do math.
Yeah. Like the water flowing
Like
Mm.
into
bits.
reservoirs.
It's funny
and through
you say
valves.
this. Like, you've
It
seen
can,
this. You've seen this. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Probably.
Can I add one
What?
detail? It has to
Okay.
be a really shitty computer. With a really simple function.
I mean, you probably.
You could
spell boobs on this calculator.
I probably have to get more familiarized with the water one and the other ones before I extrapolate it to.
you sort of need to be able to like have a reaction that can like tip off another reaction, and you sort of have a bunch of
Yeah.
things intertwined, or like maybe temperature has something to do with it, where it's like, like I would say that like a thermometer is almost kind of like a physical computer, right? Where it's like the temperature causes
there
it
you
to
go.
expand, and then there's a readout on it. It's like
Yeah,
really
like you
simple,
can read
but-
you can read the reaction with like other like microcontrollers or something. Like you can read the state change with a microcontroller or a heat sensor. But
I mean, there's probably a way.
So you could do something where like it changes color. What's the reaction that changes color? Like acidity and the
Iodine
Yeah, the
clock?
iodine clock's classic.
or like the glucose, isn't there one where you can like it turns blue, but then it'll go back to normal after a while, like standing in the air. That could actually be better because then it resets itself.
I was thinking about those ones. It's kind of like the indigo carmine, like the stoplight. What's the blue one? What's the dye? I forget what it's called.
Also, we're kind of a chemical computer if you think about it.
What do you
Oh
mean?
no.
Oh yeah.
This is too deep.
I was actually gonna say that.
Time to overclock. Where's the drugs?
That's a really good analogy.
This man overclocked his brain with ketamine.
It would be one of the stimulants.
Methamphetamine. I get the means mixed up.
Too many amines.
Not enough
Oh,
receptors.
your body will create more.
You know, I have I did a bunch of.
Oh, will it? Okay, that puts my mind feeling a lot better.
Ask your question. I'm just checking something.
I kind of like the tax conversation. I feel like I
No,
love
nobody likes the tax
I know they
conversation.
don't. I hate paying money to the government
Well,
though.
so-
That's why I like talking about
Just
it. Like
don't
schemes
pay. I
and
haven't paid
scams.
taxes in like 7 years.
We're
bro.
gonna talk about taxes from the angle of the government
Here's
is
the
taking
thing,
my
right?
money
I
away.
mean,
and I
it's
want
like
it back.
so for the people listening, if you're able to, max out your retirement contributions.
Put your money in a Bitcoin account.
You know,
hide
if
the
you're able
secret
to
keys.
max out your retirement contributions from your paycheck from your employer, like, that's probably the best advice I've ever gotten, right? So
Yeah, always max it.
That's
out.
true. My neighbor yelled at me. He's like, "How old are you? You haven't put any money in your retirement account yet." You better
because here's the
start
thing,
doing
right?
it."
I have
And I did
colleagues.
it.
How did that feel, Kevin?
I've gained over $1,000 in a year
From the
on this
investment,
retirement account.
That's
That's
$1,000
money, right?
bucks.
I have
God
I
damn
have
it.
colleagues who are MD PhD,
Yeah.
right? And then they didn't finish their fellowship until they were 38, and so they had no retirement anything until they were almost 40, right? So it's like, now they're 45, and like now they're starting to build a little bit of retirement, but they're if you finish college at 22, you have 14 years of retirement contributions on this person. And, for until they were 38, they probably still had to pay, student loans and everything too that had to be deferred, right? So it's like, just thinking about that, it's like if you're able to contribute, right,
feel like they could catch
do
up
as
pretty
much
quick,
as you
though.
can.
Why doesn't everyone just have like a government retirement account where it's like everybody has this account that's
Their own
managed
personal
by,
social security.
yeah, it's like this account is attached to you. You can use it, like you can do whatever you want with it, but it's like it's already set up. It like everybody understands how it works. Because like when I was talking to like the CPA, I don't even know who I was talking to because I don't understand. It's like they're like, oh, you could do like a SEP IRA or a kiosk 401k profit sharing or this, and I'm just like, I don't know what any of that means. And you have to have different types of accounts. And then I have a retirement account, and then I was like trying to put money in it. But like for this type of account, you could put money in it electronically. But for this type of account, I had to like give a check. I had to walk a check to one of the branches. And I was just sitting there thinking like, I don't understand how this works. This is so confusing. This is why people don't put money in retirement accounts, is because it's like one step too difficult. And they'll be like, I'll do it later. You just keep kicking the can down the road, and then they're 38 and don't have any money in a retirement account.
That's me.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we talk about it all the time. You like Nigel invests in nothing. Well, Kevin, you're
Nice.
Trust
Kevin
markets,
looks
man.
like
What
he's
did you
from
do?
like an
Switch to the
80s
camera?
VHS now.
Is that? It's a VHS
my-
camera.
That's
Is
my
that-
other
is that
camera.
a camera pointed at a camera?
Jesus.
I know.
Christ.
No, this is
Oh,
actually the VHS camera.
Pointed at
It
you.
like records on little tapes, and I got it at a ham fest. It was $7.
It's funny. It looks way too good. It's like you need years of corruption to get that VHS look.
Don't worry, I'm sure Riverside will take care of that.
Oh my god, dude. I remember thinking a long time ago, when I the first tax I ever paid.
You always remember the first.
I'm
was
keeping this camera on. As long as we're talking about taxes, I'm using this
Just
camera.
like-
It was like a 10. What's the form? The
Yeah.
1099 easy or
Yeah,
the
for
1090 easy or something like that, where it's like the
1099
non-employee
simplest.
compensation.
Whatever it is, it's like the super simple basic tax form where if you don't have any deductions, it's a single page. And I was looking at it, and I was looking at tax brackets, and I had like for a split second I had the thought, that moment where you look at the tax brackets and I'm like, oh wait, so if you made like you could potentially get a raise, $1 an hour raise, and that would put you the next tax bracket and you would make less money.
Yeah, there's
And I for that split second, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. There has to be some, like,
Oh, yeah,
there's,
I know what
there's
you're talking
literally no way that's how it works. But that was like the first inkling I had when I saw that was like, oh, it's if you make over 20,000 or if you make 30,000 a year, you go into this bracket and you pay 15% instead of 10 or whatever it is. And I'm like, but then you'd end up paying more. And I feel like the fact that I had that thought, even though I immediately knew
mean,
it
you
was
should-
wrong, I feel
Yeah,
like a
you
lot of
should
people have that
qualify
thought
by
and
saying that
don't.
you only pay that extra money on that $1.
Right. Exactly. If you make $10 over that amount, that bracket amount, you only pay that higher
I also
percentage
think there's
on the
something
$10.
interesting about taxes too, and this happens a lot. It's like because the government is going to be getting, let's say, 30% of your money, people opt to not make the money. So you speak to some
Right.
people and they'll get offered something. They'll be like, oh, if I get bumped up the tax bracket, that's 3% more than I normally pay, and the government's going to take this, so I'm not going to take this $3,000 because I don't want to pay 30% to the government. And I'm just like, wait, what? I was
Sticking
just
it
like,
to the
but it's this
man.
weird thing where like they don't want to make more money because part of it goes to the government. I'm like, but you're still making more money.
Oh, so here's the thing. I saw a job posting last week, and it was for a community cancer doctor, and the salary was $575,000. That's like a lot higher than what you would normally get.
I was like, is that good or bad?
It's-
$575.
more than
That's like $500,000.
You get a $40,000 sign-on bonus. You get a $30,000 retention bonus paid out in $10,000 per year for 3 years. It's a lot higher than what you would get like if you worked at a university hospital. So, I mean, those kinds of things.
Right.
Like, I was thinking about that earlier today because it's like you're literally in the 1% income earners at that point, and your taxes are so heavy in that case.
Well, it's like 50%.
Yeah.
almost, right?
Yeah. Your effective
Yeah.
tax rate when you calculate, and it was in Illinois. So, I mean, Illinois taxes are really high too. And so what I thought about was that a lot of times people, what they do is that they try to give like a longer term incentive and not pump the salary so high. I mean, this is in a group of earners that's just like, I mean, it really is 1%, but you know, what they do is they put that long-term incentive in like company stock. But if this is a community oncology center, this is like a small business LLC that has like 2 oncology doctors and then maybe like, 20 or 25 nurses plus, ancillary staff as well. So it's like, if you think about it, like there are no shares in that, like it's not like a publicly traded company. So like that person, it's if it's even a real job, I feel like it wasn't a real job. I feel like it was just kind of like you needed to post it to show that, hey, we're hiring, but they had no intention to hire because the salary's kind of on the high end for that, right? So it's like thinking about how that whole thing works. You technically don't want a salary that high. You want like total compensation package to be something a little bit different and maybe a little bit more balanced, so that not everything it's not like a unilateral payment to you, right?
Yeah. I have some friends that work in tech who have have done vesting, where you start on with the company, you sign on, they give you a stock package, but you don't have access to it for like some set amount of time. So you get some maybe after a year, some after 2 years, some after 3 years. Like it's incentive to keep you working there at the company. And that I learned will basically come in as a lump sum as well, where it's like the instant that stock vests, you now have a tax obligation on it because it counts as income. And so you could potentially, like if a company does really well, you could end up with like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt or in obligation to the IRS because of this stock package that the company gave you that just all of a sudden, appeared out of thin air. And so now all of a sudden you have to like
If it
sell
vests,
a bunch of it.
you don't necessarily have to
be able
sell
to pay.
it though, right?
No, but you still have the tax
Because
obligation,
like
I think.
they've told me for some long-term incentives, it's like it'll vest after 3 years, and then you have access to it, but you don't necessarily have to sell it. Because let's just say
You don't have to sell it. So you can pay, Google says,
You
or
just
Schwab
get it
says,
in your account.
you can pay ordinary income tax on the award when it's granted and pay long-term capital gains tax on the gains when you sell it, or you can pay ordinary income tax on the whole amount when it vests. So if you get $100,000 in stock that vests, you all of a sudden have immediate tax burden, I think.
That
and you have to
sucks.
pay long-term capital gains when you sell it.
This is why I don't invest, man.
What?
This is why I don't.
Wait, what?
I just don't get involved with any of this.
I don't know. Either way, I definitely have some friends who basically have had this happen where like the company did well, and so like they still had money anyways, but and all of a sudden they find themselves with like this massive tax bill.
So then they've got to sell a bunch of that stock that they have,
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
they've got to pay extra
It
taxes
always
on
feels
that.
Yeah.
like some cyclical.
Bro.
Oh, then you go
loop
buy it.
Where you
Yeah.
sell it to pay off, and then you're like, I made more money. I need to sell more.
Yeah.
And in my head, it never.
And then you take
ends.
that money and you go to the store to buy something, and what do they charge?
Dude, when
you?
does it end?
No,
You're
it's
right,
'cause
Nigel.
it's-
This is like
It's the fact that like it ends because the amount that you pay in tax is
When you die.
usually
Yeah.
unless you're at if you're at the bracket where you're getting taxed 50%, then maybe it does never end. But if you're making, let's say, 70% of the money and paying 30% in tax, if you do liquidate enough, you'll pay off the tax you owe. But if you are at the 50-50
Yeah, you'll still
mark,
make money.
can you actually get out of that?
I
Like
think
if you
I don't
owed
think
a certain amount and you sold off a certain amount to pay it off, but you owed half of the money that you. See, this is where it gets confusing.
what happens if the stock spikes up and then it vests and then it drops down the next
Then
day?
life sucks, I guess.
Like I don't, but you see, like I don't understand how this works. There's probably some rule
You
where
just
it
got to
makes
leave
sense,
the
but,
country.
like if you had a bunch of
and,
stock,
that's it.
like yeah, imagine if your stock vested last year and they charged you $50,000, and then all of a sudden the stock price dropped this year, but you didn't sell any of it, but you had to pay the tax obligation. You're like stuck now with this like huge tax bill.
I mean, at
worthless
the end of
stock.
the day, like, I mean, we're all talking like you have to pay your tax, right? You have to pay it.
Bernard.
Right? You have to pay it. It's like it's a fact of life.
Wow.
Kevin.
And so when you
Yeah,
get the
the
money
IRS will-
from selling whatever, like for me, I don't spend that much money as a person, right? I don't live lavishly. I live in this, I live in a.
You don't even have
I
a
don't even
Netflix
own
account.
a place that I live. I drive a Ford, for God's sake, right?
Bernard.
I have wait, Bernard. I have one question. Is your mattress
No,
on the ground?
but the bed.
Wow,
the-
look at this rich guy
bed
over
frame.
here.
Loaded. Nigel, is your mattress on the
Um,
ground?
No, but my mattress is like 11 years old.
Okay, I saw. Where's the video?
Is
where
it
you
on
and
a box
Alan-
spring?
I don't think.
Oh, that
I
was
don't think
Hacksmith's house.
So. I don't know.
All right, Kevin, is your mattress on the ground?
No, but it was for
Was
a long
it?
time. Huh?
Wait, when did you get it off the ground? I feel like last time I was there, it was on the ground.
It was on the ground for 29 years.
So you
Have you always slept on the ground with a mattress?
No, I mean I have a box spring,
Oh, fancy guy over here.
and before that it was off the ground. But then like I built this bed frame and it was like way too tall. It was like
So
you
I
had to,
was
like, climb
purchased a
into
bed
it.
frame and
So
a box
we got rid
spring
of it.
because I was told it's bad feng shui to be sleeping on a mattress on the floor. So I didn't have to buy my bed frame. It was gifted to me.
Okay.
I thought like in Chinese culture a lot of it was like, don't people sleep on really hard surfaces
yeah. So
too?
my parents, like, they sleep without
Like
pillows
straight
on like
wood
the
or-
hardest spring mattresses ever, and I'm like, what are you doing?
okay. In
Builds
high
character.
school, there was a kid I was friends with who was straight from China. Came from China when we were in middle school, and I went to his house one day. He ran cross country with me, and I went to his house one day after practice because he was pretty close to the high school. And I sat on his bed, and I shit you not,
You what on his bed?
100%. I took a shit on his bed. It was a mattress, and on top of the mattress was a piece of plywood wrapped in
Nice.
like a linen, and then on top of that was
Wait, he just slept on
covers.
plywood?
He
Jump on it, instantly break your
yes,
ass.
he slept on a board on top of a
Why?
mattress. Cause it's, I don't know, good for your back or something.
So
I've
That's what
never
I heard.
seen.
It's like good.
When I was a
good
kid,
posture
when
or
I was like
something.
12, because I'm half Japanese, so I heard from some relatives, maybe some of the older relatives, they said that they're like, it's good for your back to sleep on the ground. So I just slept on the hardwood floor for I think like 5 or 6 months. My brother and I just did it, but it was
It's not actually good for you, is it?
I think it's like it does keep your back straight, I guess. I don't know. But
Is that good,
I think that only worked because I was a kid. Because I've tried to do it. There's a few occasions where, you go somewhere and turns out, I mean, the sleeping arrangements weren't as good as you thought, and it's just the floor.
Right.
Like every sleepover ever as a kid.
But as an adult,
oh god,
You
no
like
blanket.
sleep, you roll up in the rug.
but as an adult, Kevin, you realize
curtain.
as a kid you weigh so little, you can actually sleep on your side, and it doesn't destroy your hip bone. You can't do that as an adult. You can only sleep on your back.
How did people sleep before beds?
Straw.
Oh, bro, I saw this YouTube video. It was like some really huge muscle dude, and he's like,
What are you watching?
he's like walking around showing his sleep routine. He's like, oh, yeah, we got Faraday cages on the linens because on the walls because our ancients didn't have cell phone signals, and we sleep on a straight wooden bed frame, just wood, because that's how they used to sleep. And he was really muscular, so you want to believe what he's saying. But
Oh my
he
God.
actually has no idea what.
and we die of
Well,
basic medical emergencies because that's how our ancestors
When people
died.
say that, yeah, they're just like, this is
like-
how we used to sleep. I'm like, and then with many years of technological
No, they didn't.
advances, we've developed superior
We didn't
ways
actually
to
sleep on rock floors.
They
like-
didn't used to brush their teeth, and
But
so
but
I don't
here's the
either.
thing, they slept on the floor because that's all they had. I'm sure if you offered them a bed, they weren't choosing the floor.
Our ancestors used to eat dirt cakes.
There was
We used to die
also
from
died before they were.
preventable-
They died before they were 35 as well.
I'm dying from cholera like God intended.
there was a guy, a heavy metal guitarist, who slept on his shoulder and then couldn't play guitar anymore. He had to relearn. Yeah,
No, have you? I never heard about
Mustaine
that.
from Megadeth.
It ruined it. I'm sure it will. Like I said, I've tried to sleep on my side on the hardwood floor. It's gonna cause nerve and joint like it's just too much weight on such a small little area. Like you can't do
pinch the
that
nerve.
long term. Yeah, or something. Especially in your shoulder, you're gonna just mess up your joint.
First
I
I'll
feel
land
like
your
the back is the only option.
But if you do that, and then let's just say like, I mean, you can cause some reflux and make it harder to breathe. Like when you're laying on the back, right? The ventilation's not good, and then. I mean, we're in front of the computer all day,
That's
so
why you
like
put,
our
a pillow
postures
kinda,
are
like,
probably
under
all,
your
at least
upper
mine
back.
is. Posture's no good, right?
Oh, mine is for sure.
I'm
I'm a little goblin when I
I don't know. Every time I've tried
lately.
sleeping on the floor as an adult, it just you wake up every
Yeah.
every hour or so because you just aren't comfortable.
Yeah, so I remember
It
this.
just
Yeah,
doesn't work.
Yeah, the Megadeth guy couldn't play like 20 years ago because he like slept on his side. I don't know if people listening know.
Was it like for
No,
a day or
he
was
was
it
able to
permanent?
relearn it. I mean, I remember they started releasing albums again in like the late 2000s. And that was like early 2000s when it all happened. I don't know if you guys listen to that music. Somebody watching probably does though. It's
that's
a
a
really
fun
good
fact
band.
for
It
them.
was the guitarist. He was the original guitarist for Metallica, and then went out to make his own band.
Man, that would suck. Like lose function. I've always thought like every time we do some shady stuff, like when we were blowing up the mannequin, remember Kevin?
Oh yeah.
And we had
Oh,
our
yeah.
little charges.
Our little fireworks.
I was one handing it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do everything with my left hand because if I had to pick a hand to lose, it's definitely not my right hand.
Oh yeah, we could have like both held on to one end and assembled the firework. So
yeah, we'd lose two
I just
hands.
don't like explosives.
well that way
I
you don't have
hate
to
it,
lose
dude.
both of your hands. You can
Right.
take someone with you.
Right. We can be one person.
Exactly. You can
You
just
use
take
your
each
right,
other
I'll use
up.
my left, and that way when
Yeah.
we get our hands blown off, we can form one complete set of hands. I think our takeaway from that experience was for electronically ignited stuff like that we should always use a fuse. So we light the fuse. That way when you're assembling it, you have some sort of obvious indicator that the system has been activated instead of just having the igniter directly inside of the charge.
I
Charge
wonder
is the
what's
right
caused
word, right?
more spaghetti hands though, fuses or somebody trying to electronically ignite it. Probably fuses.
So one of the worst things I've ever saw was somebody had their hand caught in a shredder,
Uh-oh.
like a paper shredder. That's the absolute. Yeah.
A paper shredder.
No. What? A small office
I
paper
don't.
shredder?
I think it was like a bigger like industrial shredder. But it was like it was awful. And then I mean those
God.
patients, they just go to the trauma surgeon right there. So it's I mean you see that coming through and you're just
How bad was it? How far
probably,
up
like,
did
up
it
to the
go?
wrist. To the
Tell me,
wrist.
tell me when.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have a hand after that, but it was awful. Like I mean, I just I never want to see that again. So sorry for the terrible imagery for anyone watching.
Bernard just comes in here.
Ye
I mean,
old
safety
spaghetti
third,
hands.
right?
I feel like we still. I mean, I feel like we. I don't. I think we talked about some of the first episode we ever did of like this, the general idea of safety, of like safe enough. And I think that like my version of safety is like complacency, of like you become complacent.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is where
like
the
that's what you
mistakes
try to
happen.
avoid. I don't care about taking risks.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe you should,
Like
Kevin.
risks are okay. Being complacent is like a death
I
sentence.
mean, that's where most of the accidents happen, and usually they're worse because the people who are new and starting out don't have access to the things that'll really mess you up, and then it's the complacent ones who
Yeah.
have access to the big toys, and then they
And they're confident.
yeah, exactly.
They're like, I've used this for years.
And then the
Like a skill saw with the guard rubber banded up. Like I like a handheld skill saw.
Oh yeah. Is
Got
that
the
what they
rotary
do? I
blade.
never
It's like a
even
chop saw,
thought
but you're
of
holding
that.
it by hand.
wait,
They have this guard
You're
that
just-
wraps
it's like the
around the
circular
blade.
saw, right?
And so
yeah.
circular saw,
Yeah.
yeah. A skill saw is the name brand, I guess. So when you start cutting into something, you start from the edge and you cut into it, and that guard gets pushed back as the blade
I just hold it with my
enters the
hand.
material. See, that's the thing. Is like when
That's
people
better
like,
than rubber banding it. Because
it
sometimes you
is.
need to do that to get it started.
Yep. Like especially if you got halfway through and it bound up and you have to start it again, you kind of have to like lift it up and out and get it back in.
Yeah.
We had a neighbor. I don't remember this. I was a kid. Growing up, we lived in wherever we lived, some different city, and our neighbor was cutting something with a skill saw or circular saw, and he had rubber banded the guard.
I almost lost. I
And it
almost
went
lost
right
through
an
his
unknown
thigh.
number of fingers with a circular
Oh really?
saw.
Yeah. Well, this guy like almost. I don't want to say he almost cut his leg off because you're not gonna cut your leg off, but you're gonna like potentially bleed out. And I think that he just barely missed one of the main arteries.
Femoral
I don't know
artery.
what is in
No,
your
it's
leg.
carotid.
It's the main artery.
The femoral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carotid.
Yeah.
Femoral.
Yeah, femoral. He had like just barely missed it, but they said like I think my mom was a nurse at the time, is what she was doing. And you could just see like it was his leg was just like splayed open.
Epic.
Like you could see like the fat. You could see.
I hate when
everything
you
in
see
there.
the fat. Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say my story. I almost lost all of. I say an unknown number of fingers from a circular saw, and it was doing a construction project in high school.
Wait. How do you lose fingers with a circular saw?
That's a good question, and I will if you.
A circular saw, you like cut your leg
What
or
do
your
you mean?
torso.
You're holding the wood underneath. and
No,
you
not a table.
saw-
Wait, what are you talking about? Like the saw that you go
Wait, you
like an iron.
yeah, you hold like this. Yeah. You almost
Yes.
lost fingers with that.
So
Okay. What?
if you listen
What
to the
were you
story,
doing?
you will
Were you all-
understand.
No, I just want to make
I
sure that
gotta
we're talking
paint
about
the
the right
picture
tool
here.
here.
I was
Okay.
building a
artist's
trebuchet for
work.
physics class. Okay.
Okay.
Very important detail. And my friend
Classic.
came over to build it with me because I had the power tools, not the knowledge. I had the tools. And so we went to go cut one of the pieces of wood. And I was like, I'll cut it really quickly, but it was I forget why we were it was awkward how we had to cut it. I don't remember all the details, honestly. I think it was like a I don't know how I'm failing to describe it. It was like 5 inches by like 1. It was like a 5 by 1. I don't know if it was yeah.
Like a piece of
it was
plywood.
thick.
Or was it like a
It was
bowl,
like
a piece of
pine or
wood,
something.
a
Like it was
beam?
raw wood. It wasn't plywood.
Like a 2x4?
It wasn't a 2x4. Like it said, it was like a 5
like a
by
board, like a board.
1. I don't know what it would be. It's just like the pine wood that you get, like the wide and thin thing.
Yeah, like a board.
Yeah,
a
so I went to
board,
go
a
and
pine
cut it.
board.
And then I just went to go cut it, and then the saw got jammed. And I was just like, okay, well, that's annoying. I pulled the saw back, and there's a knot. And I guess the saw I was using wasn't great. For everything got pinched in the knot. So I went again and it got stuck in the knot. And I was like, oh, well, this is like annoying. And I think it's because I was doing things really stupidly. So then...
Sometimes that happens if you're not like
yeah, so it kind of got stuck in the knot. But I was like ripping with the saw.
up.
And then when I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to like pull the whole saw blade out. Because I think when I went to go do it again, I didn't pull it out again. And it didn't have enough time to rev up. So it just kind of got stuck again. So when I pulled it out to reset, my friend asked me something. And so I let go of the wood and backed up. And then realized that all 4 of my fingers were in front of... The knot was like here. And all 4 of my fingers were on the other side of the knot. So if that knot didn't stop the saw, it would have cut through an unknown number of my fingers.
So wait. You were
I was holding
this is like some Wile E. Coyote. You were cutting a tree branch. You're cutting the tree branch while sitting on the side of the branch that's going to fall.
Know how to describe what I was doing, because I honestly, when I think about this, it makes
sounds like
no sense.
you were holding the board. You're like cutting through it, but the way you're holding it, you don't see your fingers.
This is like some stupid box here. If this was the board, I was holding it like this.
Oh.
And I think my
Jesus
friend
Christ.
was holding it down on something on the other end. And then so when I went, it stopped right here on the knot, and it was only when I took my fingers out that I realized they were all in the way of the blade.
I hear that people don't have a good grasp of like there's like the spatial awareness that doesn't
You know what
develop
happened when
till
that
you're, like,
happened?
16 years old.
What was my response?
Just shrugged it off.
It should have been.
I said,
vow to never
I
touch
actually
flowers
vividly
again.
remember this because up until that point, I had never been like really in a moment where you're like, was this chance I didn't lose a bunch of fingers, or like, am I the main character? And you know, being 16, I was like, you know what? I think it's just because, you know, I can't lose my fingers. Bad things can't happen. And that's since changed. That mentality. But at that moment, like, I had to take it 2 ways. Like, oh my God, I was like either going to be traumatized that I almost just cut all my own fingers off, or I was never in danger because
I've done similar things a lot.
I have
with
fake
the jigsaw.
invincibility, as you know, young kids think they have.
Plot
Once as a
armor.
kid, nothing bad has happened up until that point, so you're just like, you know, nothing bad will happen. But yeah, sir, what were you saying, Kevin?
Right.
I said I've done the same thing with a jigsaw, like
Kevin.
a lot. Like sometimes
I only
like
did this
really
once, Kevin.
detailed work where you can't clamp it down, because if you clamp it, the clamp gets in
Yeah.
the way of like the base of the jigsaw. So you have to like actually hold it.
Okay, what about like a table, like the skill? What do you call the jigsaws that are on a table mounted ones?
Oh, the whole thing goes.
Yeah, are those called
I don't know.
jigsaw too?
Scroll saw.
Scroll
I
saw.
don't use that.
Yeah.
I like
They're too big. They
instead
take up
of
too much
buying a
space.
$200 scroll saw,
I think those are actually.
I'm
called
gonna use my
jigsaws.
hands. I'm gonna risk the sanctity.
You're not gonna risk
my
your
fingers.
See with the jigsaw, you're gonna lose a tiny bit of skin.
It's
You're not gonna
suck,
cut through your
though.
whole finger. It's just gonna
It's
go.
gonna
like,
be. It's
ow.
gonna be a bad.
like an angle grinder.
I did that once. Angle grinder is really not that bad.
Well, unless I feel like the
Kinda
hardest,
cauterizes
the
it,
worst part
too.
of the angle grinder
Yeah.
is when the shard flies off and sticks in your eye socket.
oh, when it
I've-
explodes. I have a scar
I've
on my
seen
knuckle from
pictures.
angle grinder.
What happened?
I just nicked it. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I think they stitched it up, but it still was like. It's really. It's like they use it for cutting off like casts and stuff too. They use like abrasive blade, so it will burn you, but it'll like it won't. It's not that
Wait,
bad.
so
like,
what are you
it's not
talking about?
good.
No, those
I love
vibrate
them.
back
the
and
little
forth.
multi-tools.
Wait, which one? Oh, these. No, I think some of the cast
they?
blades spin.
Bernard would know.
I think so. Bernard.
What are we talking
Bernard?
about? I was
Bernard.
thinking about spindle sanders for a second.
When you get
When you get
a
your what
cast
cut
cut off.
You're what?
A cast cut off. It's like a.
Yeah.
It's like a diamond saw, right? Does it reciprocate or does it spin?
I think it reciprocates.
Like, is
I
it
don't.
like
I don't think. I
maybe
mean, it
both.
I'm
depends.
gonna look
Maybe.
this up. Cast saw.
We got, good news. We got your cast
We
off.
cut off your
Bad
arm.
news.
Cut your arm off.
We also cut your leg in half.
Oh no,
I think they
it
have both.
It
I
looks
think
like
they
you-
definitely
I mean,
have. No, I see reciprocating ones,
Yeah,
and
but
I
the
also
old-
see
it
full
says,
spinning ones.
Yeah, it says they rapidly oscillate or vibrate.
Here's a picture that says, Reddit post, "It's cutting me. Oh no, the cast saw doesn't cut you." And then there's a picture of this guy's hand with like a kind of like an abrasive cut on his palm. So I definitely think they will cut you if you push
I
hard
think
enough,
you
or if
do.
you keep it
But
in
the
one spot too
reciprocating
long.
ones, they're pretty cool. Like I used the multi-tool. My mom, I just remember this. My mom got stung by a wasp, and then her finger started swelling up
Ugh.
around her ring.
Oh no.
So she was like, oh
Oh,
god, like, and her
no.
finger started turning like purple. So she's like, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. But I'm like, no. I was
No,
like,
you gotta do it
I
now.
have what it takes. Actually, now that I think of it, I think I cut it off with a Dremel. Never mind.
He unhinges his jaw.
You
bites
might be the
ring.
main
She put it like her
Nigel.
finger, her ring on a
Yeah.
piece of ice, so that it would stay cold, and then I Dremeled the ring off, and then we
Oh, yeah,
expanded
yeah.
it a bit, and then she brought it to a jeweler, and they fixed it.
Fix it.
I also
Yeah.
videotaped it too. I
Dude,
thought about it
cool.
because I found the video.
That's why I don't
recently.
like wearing
Did you?
jewelry.
You should post it.
I
in
told
the-
my mom,
in
I'm
the-
like, I will do this, but I
Right
must
now.
videotape it.
Wait, when was this? Were you a YouTuber by then?
There's a
Oh, this was like a year ago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
She didn't want to go to the hospital because of COVID.
Yeah.
So she's.
I mean,
okay,
honestly, it probably would have been triaged, and then her finger would have needed to be amputated. No, probably not. Probably not. Probably not.
I think you probably, I don't.
Bernard.
Wait, if how long could that happen before the finger is,
I
like,
mean,
toasted?
it depends. Like if the swelling gets really bad and then the blood supply gets cut off, I mean, it could be pretty quick. It just depends on how big.
Like if you just right now, if you just totally zip tied my
Oh.
finger
Shut.
I mean, it within like
Bernard, we need
Within
downtown
like an
sound
hour?
estimation.
yeah.
within an hour.
So it was a medical emergency.
That for sure is. So you cutting it off was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. There was really no other way around it. Like
Yeah,
you had
I-
to cut it, otherwise.
Oh no, like, and that's when she said she's like, I'll go to the hospital, and I was just, she's like, if I do, what would they do? I'm like,
They would cut it
they'd
off.
get a tool and cut it off. Yeah, they
You
just
cut the finger
whole-
off, take the ring off in one
Exactly.
piece, and then put
Actually,
the finger back
speaking
on.
of-
See, that's
there
a-
was
They do that.
Heat up some hot glue with a torch
Stick
and
it
then just
back
kind of dab it on and
There was a kid in my woodshop class in middle school, which the woodshop class I took in middle school was one of the best classes I ever took. I'm so glad they had that program. But they had these wood lathes, and the wood lathe has like you've got the motor unit, and the motor unit has like two connections that are like threaded. So you can put something on the back of it, like if you want to make a bowl or something where you need to get all the way around it, or sand. I don't really know. Oh no. Oh, Kevin, you there?
I'm
What happened?
back.
It cut out for a second.
I see if my
And-
other camera still worked.
And so there's this hole in the back of the machine that has a thread in it. Well, that whole axle spins as well. So you can imagine, like, if it's spinning, and you stick something in there to like suck it in. So this kid, for whatever reason, was like talking to someone who was using the lathe. Like the teacher was, I don't remember. And he was like standing right next to the machine, and for whatever reason, he like kind of like stuck his finger in the hole,
Dude.
and it like sucked his finger in. And so
It was
he, like,
threaded in the back?
yeah. I don't know. I guess you could put like a bowl mount on the back or something like that. I don't know exactly.
okay.
Maybe you want to sand. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a woodworker. There's probably a reason. So he like rips his finger out before it gets too deep. I don't know. Maybe it sucked it in like a half an inch or something. So he rips his finger out, and it just rips the entire like bit of skin off of his finger.
Oh god. This is the kid that like looks off a bridge and says, "Wow, that would suck if I fell off this bridge," but actually just jumps off the bridge.
And then does it to learn for himself if it does suck. And I remember there's like a trail of blood through the wood shop.
Man, I've caught myself doing something stupid like that before with my lathe. Like I had this little pipe, you know, with like a maybe 3/4 of an inch inside diameter, and I needed to smooth it out. So I got some sandpaper and I wrapped it around my finger and I stuck my finger
Kevin,
in
no.
there.
It just rips your fingers, like spinning your finger and just ripping off the tendon.
Yeah, so that's like I did that for about a half second, then I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
it's-
hold on, brain.
It's that moment
Not
where you're
today.
just like, you turn the machine off, and you're just like, why did I do that?
It's like, how about we continue this tomorrow?
So you know, then I taped the sandpaper to a stick and I did it like that
It
instead.
probably worked better anyways.
We'll
All right,
never
there's
know.
There's a 6-minute video somebody sent me that I want to show you guys. Do we want to try? Should we try the screen share and see what happens, or should we do it in Discord? Have a second call in Discord.
You want to do
where
it for
guys can
Patreon?
watch. Oh, we could do it for Patreon too. Well, this person sent me an email. I'm not
Hey,
sure
I
if
have a
they're on
question. What do you
Patreon.
guys know about this?
Yeah.
Super white.
Super
I don't know
white.
what that is.
It tastes good.
So
Sounds like an
I
American
just
product.
discovered this.
I don't know
So
what it
you
is.
know, like light stands have a lot of threading, and it's just a giant piece of metal, but it needs to be well lubricated. So
Oh,
it's
is it like
grease.
a
It is
grease?
super white
Lithium
lithium
grease?
grease.
I got
What
that
do
stuff in
you-
a spray bottle. Just like white
This is
lithium
like the
grease in
best stuff ever. Like
aerosol.
I've been painting
What
it
do you-
everywhere, and like I'm pretty sure at this point I've like inadvertently eaten some of it. It's
Probably not
it's
bad.
awesome though. Like I mean the light stands and everything is just like yeah.
No more squeak. Does it say that
Probably
it's? Does it have any
I mean it's lithium
toxicity
grease
warning on it?
I mean it
I
says
feel like the lithium's not good for you.
I think it's pretty good.
I
don't
think
it's
they have
that
a
bad.
food safe version of it. It's lithium
Uh,
grease food safe.
I use this grease. It's like black.
So you have the opposite, super
Like-
black.
I don't know. It's super black, but it's nasty, dude. Once it touches something, it's
oh
like you can't get it off.
Permanently
It's like super
lube.
sticky, super black. I think it's like molybdenum grease with like carbon chart graphite
Dude, what
in
kind
it.
of exotic grease are you using?
I use it on like the wheels in the lathe.
I don't
Or, like,
really
the
lube
gears and
anything.
stuff, 'cause
I
it's
just
super sticky.
You spray WD
I
a
don't
bit
either, I'm
when
pretty
it's
bad.
when it squeaks.
oh
and that's-
so apparently the stand manufacturer was like don't use WD. These are all from like this LA company called Matthews, and so it's like I noticed because I bought a crank stand because I have like one really heavy light, and so like you need to use a crank to like elevate the stand, and there's like this like white grease everywhere in it, and then on their channel like the guy was like, yeah, this is the stuff that we use and we paint it on our stands, and I'm like, all right, so let me get a can of this. I got it from Amazon. And I've just been painting it everywhere. I'm like, hey, grease everywhere. I used it on the smoker to assemble it. And I'm like, I probably
hinges.
should have done that because now I'm going to be eating lithium grease in my steaks.
We got to come back to the smoker. We moved away from this too fast. He wants to tell us about his smoker.
I found lithium grease can be food safe. I think it's one of those things where it's just because it's lithium grease doesn't mean it's food safe, but it can be food safe.
Bernard's setting himself up for his own video.
What are you gonna cook? Yeah, this man assembled his smoker with lithium grease.
covered
This is
his
what
life
happened to
with
his brain.
lithium grease.
There was
Oh, he put lithium grease in
Yeah,
his
this
smoker.
is what happened.
The air
it started
slice,
dripping
and this
all
is
over
what
the
happened to
meat,
his
and
lungs.
then just cut it up and eat it, you know. There was something on Twitter over the weekend about like dipping your scrotum in some fluid as like contraception.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, and
ultrasonic
so-
Oh
bath.
God.
I was like, I was
Hell
actually
no,
thinking,
bro.
you know,
No
there was
way.
a case that happened at the hospital where somebody dipped their balls into something and then their organs shut down. Maybe I can cover it. It's not contraception, but so
But what would happen
What
if you
was
did that
the
in an
thing-
ultrasonic bath?
so the ultrasonic bath part, I don't know. That has to be like maybe some kind of newer research. Your scrotum.
We need some. We need some. We need
Don't
some.
We need
People
Alan.
who
We
don't
need
know
Alan
beer.
with Nut Busters. This is actually
Don't-
called Nut Blasters.
It's
this
probably a
special
special
episode.
kind of ultrasonic bath. They're like a special frequency or low power. Because if you stick stick something in an ultrasonic bath, like a piece of
Oh.
meat, it'll dissolve.
Really?
Yeah, but you
Shake
can
it
put your
apart,
finger
yes.
in
Wait,
it.
what? But you can put your finger in it. Yeah.
Keep your finger in there for a long time, and it's
I
gonna
mean,
have
if that's an
Don't tell me how to
irreversible
live my
life.
process,
Yeah, you're right.
like that's not. People. will
But
not
also
be
the problem is
doing
it's happening internally as well, not just externally.
No, I feel like there's so much dampening. There's so much damping between the
Okay, we need-
outside of your body and the
Sorry,
inside.
what?
Like, there's so like your skin is like a really good
that.
damper.
But your scrotum is different, right?
so like the vibrations
So-
would.
I would say that I don't know about that because I mean, the most common thing I guess in chem and stuff, you can use the ultrasonic bath to degas, and I don't really think it just degasses the surface. I think like the whole liquid kind of, it definitely makes it in. Like just because you have some stuff on the outside, there's definitely some ultrasonic getting to the core. We need you to test, Will. You need to sacrifice yourself for science.
I think that the tweet said like, "I will not dip my balls in the
This
pool."
man dipped his
No,
balls.
so I do have a video that I was thinking about doing where somebody did dip their balls into something and then their organs shut down.
What did they dip
What?
into?
Well,
No,
can you say what the
no,
something
I
was?
won't
Or you
say
don't
it
wanna spoil it?
for suspense of the video, but
Type it in the chat. Discord.
oh yeah, I closed Discord.
Oh, you closed
I'll-
You can
Discord.
type it in. There's a chat for.
Say it. Oh, there's
so,
a chat
so
here.
the thing
There's a
is,
chat here.
like the
Yeah.
the scrotum is highly vascularized, so things will absorb in and they will go directly into your blood. So
So you're saying that.
so be careful
So instead of boofing, we could do something called
dipping your sack,
teabagging
teabagging,
into large quantities of drugs.
teabagging
teabag.
this thing. Yeah, no. So it's
Trying to get drunk by. Oh, it was booze. It was booze. It had to be booze.
Don't, dude. You can't ruin his video. He cannot confirm.
Okay, put it in
nor
the chat.
deny.
Put it in the chat. Type it. Type it
You're
in the
gonna
chat.
ruin
Type
it.
in the
You're
chat. so
ruining
no one
his
can see it.
video
It's
in real time.
I'm not saying it.
I'm not gonna ruin his video.
I'm-
this is
So your organs
say
will
it, type
shut
it.
down. I'm just saying, like, be careful of the liquid that comes in contact with just that general area. For women, the vaginal canal also is highly vascularized,
Scrotum.
so a lot of things can get into the bloodstream directly from there. And for men, for women, both the areas are highly vascularized, so you can get right into the.
Now, speaking for balls, you're definitely blue balling us right now with this.
Seriously.
Just type it in the chat, damn it, Bernard. You're not gonna. We gonna spoil it for the
You'll
three of
see
us?
the
But
video.
no, but
on
you guys are gonna react and confirm.
No, we'll just but we'll look at it, and then we'll be like, okay, interesting.
If
and then it's
anyone
gonna make one.
overreacts or gives it away, Bernard, you have something.
We can also cut
No,
it out.
I'm gonna figure it out myself. I'm going to go Google Scholar. With the power of Sci-Hub and Google Scholar, I will figure this out.
Do you have a paid subscription for academic journals? Oh.
No, I use Sci-Hub.
I pay for like individual journals, just
It's
like,
like-
my own access. Some of the stuff gets really some of the
Wow,
stuff
you're
gets
a
really
doctor, bro.
expensive. I
You're a
mean, it's like,
doctor.
like what is it when you're for like professional
It's like
societies,
35
right?
just for one article. Usually, you think that they would.
Oh no,
pay
you have
for
to
you,
pay for
too.
everything. You want to renew your certification? Oh, that'll be $2,000.
Dude, that shit pisses me off. Why? How is this not like a publicly funded thing where you have all this information that's like behind a paywall? Like,
So
like it stops people
interesting.
from
I was
innovating.
I was at a my buddy's daughter had a birthday party, and I was talking with his wife, and she works for academic journal, or she did in the past. And so the thing is, like, the people at the journals, they don't work for free, and like that's where part of the money goes. I don't think that's where all the money goes, because I don't know if like the CEO of the like the big dog in the organization's making a ton of money off of it, but like there is like cataloging and like there is like labor that's involved.
yeah, but like, you ever been to a library?
But that's paid for by the state, right?
There's got to be. Right, but I feel like that kind of stuff should be paid for. Like, how do like the universities not collectively pay for an organization system for their, I bet you the cost of like a single university library, like what they pay the overhead to have employees and stuff, probably is more than what you would pay to run like an online library of academic
I'm not
papers.
sure. I mean, that whole thing is like a separate business, and like I mean that can be like an argument of whether or not that should be a business or not. But
I think back in the day, maybe it's like one of those things that made sense. Like,
Right.
it could actually help to collect all the stuff, put it in an easy to find place.
It's like
But now with the
Ticketmaster,
internet,
dude. Like, here's a convenience fee
Exactly.
for downloading this article that no one here has ever looked at. It was just
It's like
automatically entered into the system.
distributor, like middleman
I think
for like, some company
worst
makes
thing-
chain and they sell it to a bunch of distributors who sell it to people. But now you can just find this company. You type in like
Yeah.
people that make this and you get right to the manufacturer. And all they do is they drop ship it to you anyway. So it doesn't make any sense.
It's like Tesla. You can go straight to
Wait,
Tesla. You don't
Nigel,
have to
what
go
were you gonna
stupid
say?
Dealer.
Oh, I was gonna say the worst thing with the papers and stuff is when they go, "Oh, you can you want to look at this paper? You can rent it for 8 hours for $20," and you're like, "What?" Or like you can have it for 48 hours for $39.99. And you're just like,
That's shameful,
I just
dude.
I don't even know if this has the info I want.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Wait.
Do you guys know what
I do,
Sci-Hub
Kevin.
is?
I just want to say this first though. I bought a paper
Okay.
once. Okay. Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I bought it. It cost me $40 to get the paper. You know what that paper was? It was
Just
the
an
abstract.
abstract?
So I had to contact them for a refund
Ah.
because they sold me the abstract. And it was like Wiley or something. It wasn't like some obscure company. I was like, I don't know how that happened. So I never got the paper. But I was mad enough.
All right, I'm gonna tell people about Sci-Hub because I don't know if a lot of people know what it is. But basically, it's a service that allows you to view paywalled articles in these
Without the
journals
paywall.
or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works. As I think it's like people have accounts and they like share that with Sci-Hub,
I have
and then
read.
it searches through their accounts.
I have read that on Reddit, especially, if you have a journal or an article, like a scientific journal, you can give that to people.
Yeah, and nobody cares if
Right.
you're reading this for free. Like the people that wrote this article, you're not hurting them at all when
Right.
you do this.
I think generally speaking, it's like they have the right to distribute their own material, but the distributors have the right to sell the material. So it's like you can go directly to the author, or you can buy it from one of these distribution places. So in this case, I don't think there's anything against distributing the journals.
Yeah, you can always email the authors, and they would probably just give it to you, like if they had time to like respond and actually do it.
Does it mean that
maybe email some of the other people? Like,
if the author gives you the journal, that you're not allowed to redistribute the journal?
no, I was saying like I'm sure they would give it to you if they like, saw your email and had the time to respond and do all that. And if they don't even reach out to the main author, reach out to like the assistants or the graduate helper students, ask them. They might see it more,
So here's my question: like, if it costs money to run these like, journal websites, how does Sci-Hub do it if it's all free?
Well, I think it's based on like donations.
Oh, I
and
think
stuff.
that what they're
I mean,
Oh, that's a
PubMed
good point,
is publicly
Right.
funded,
Right.
right?
So-
And they're pretty good with indexing.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
feel
most
like
of it
that's-
links back to PubMed, and they say full text available on Wiley or whatever journal, and you go click on it, you get the abstract, but then you
No,
go to
Kevin.
the full
Then
text,
you pay and you
and
get
it's paywall.
the abstract again, except you paid $40.
No, you go to http://scihub.se. No, it's scihub-se. Scihub-se. And then you paste the PubMed ID, and then
Kevin,
you get
we're
a
gonna
journal.
take you
You
down.
get your article.
Big research scholar paper is gonna take you down.
Big research scholar paper could stick their nuts in an ultrasonic cleaner.
Bernard's like, get me out of this podcast.
And whatever mysterious chemical Bernard refuses to tell us about. Was it milk?
Oh, Nigel,
What?
is this secretly about you and your milk?
20 questions. This is 20 questions. We're trying to guess what the guy put his balls in that Bernard refuses to tell us.
How do I type this even into Google? Soak testicles in plus organ
Kevin,
failure. I don't know.
You're gonna get some interesting results.
So the thing is, like, so skin, things can absorb through the skin, but it's like sometimes it's over exaggerated. So like when they were saying some things can go through the skin and other things can't. So it's like, but highly vascularized skin can be a little bit different. So like rubbing it in different areas will have different absorption rates into the body, and the scrotum just happens to be highly vascularized to the point where if it's not just water and soap, probably don't want to rub anything up.
It was icy hot.
I just saw some stuff, man, and my eyes are actually watering.
What'd you see?
So it's funny. There's a shout out to Will and Nigel in this video that I'm putting out tomorrow, and
Oh, damn.
and it's
I
funny
made it.
because the reactions are so
Good.
very typical. People who know Nigel he's laughing at the subject matter, whereas William's like, what? How old was the food? And then Maker's Muse was like, all right, I'm never going to eat ever again. Whereas like Nigel's just like laughing like, haha, what are you doing?
Somebody died. It was like Elon laughing at the dead deer.
We'll do do a bromine video.
Was it gasoline?
Oh, gasoline, like bromine,
Was it bromine?
absorbed right into the blood from the ball.
At least
On-
I'll say this. At least
right
in
into the
chem,
balls. Applied
the
directly to
classic-
your balls.
Kevin, you probably know about this. Like the classic solvent to be careful with is DMSO.
Oh
What's
yeah,
that?
yeah. 'cause
It'll
it,
help shuttle
like,
things through your skin.
facilitates stuff.
So it's like
Yeah.
if you're working with toxic stuff and DMSO, you have to be extra careful. Well, just don't be dumb, because you can get away with not using gloves
just
for a
don't
lot
use
of
it.
stuff, but then if you have it in DMSO, you might regret it.
What if you just don't use it? Is it a solvent that you can avoid?
DMSO is a very it's not that it's like a common uncommon solvent. Like when you need it, but for most applications like people don't use it. But it's a very weird it's
also like a weird fringe
that's
health
true.
food thing.
but it's as a solvent, it's oddly
People will buy it. And,
it's an organic solvent, but it's very polar. It's like almost as polar as water. But it will dissolve things
I have a
that are
question.
non or like not really that polar. It has like interesting polarity and solubility capabilities.
Could you make
Yeah,
gasoline?
you can make gasoline from what?
oh, I've always wanted to do this video actually.
I think it'd be real. I personally
I
think
was
it'd
gonna
be
make
really
it
cool if
from
we tried to make gasoline.
from sugar.
Yeah.
Gasoline's a
No,
solvent,
no.
right?
I want to get like crude oil and make my own gasoline.
Yeah.
been-
Yes. Like I turned
Yeah.
this into this. It's like just black nasty tar,
I've been trying.
and then
Yeah, and you could show all the different fractions. I've looked it up before. You can buy like, crude oil by the gallon.
Wait.
Remember that one
It's
I
time
actually
looked
you
at
kinda hard to
DMSO and
they
apparently
were
the
paying
polarity
people
is
to take oil?
not close to water. I lied. It's just very polar. I'm fact checking
Bernard.
myself.
What's up?
I think I found the article.
Okay, put it in the chat and
I think I
can
found
confirm.
it.
Oh, now we put it in the chat. Now
No,
we're
no,
gonna
no.
put it
I'm
in-
not even gonna let
Oh.
Will and Nigel know what it is. So I'm just gonna say a word that I think only you would know what it is.
All right, are we
Wait,
back
now
You
that
guys
now?
are gonna
we're-
love this one.
now that we're back,
you guys
we're
are gonna
back.
love this.
I
Are
need
we
to
back?
fact check
Did we come
myself.
back?
I need to fact check
That was a
myself.
roller
Not
coaster.
that you guys care. Because I made an error in my chemistry.
Oh, DMSO?
Sounds
Yeah,
about
so
right.
it's just very polar for being, this means nothing to Will, but for being an aprotic solvent.
Oh.
This is
So it's like
bullying.
it's like most organic solvents that get up to the polarity close to water are all protic, but it's a very
yes.
it's a very
Scrotic.
polar
For you,
aprotic
Will.
solvent. So out of all the
Yeah.
common ones, I didn't know that apparently one higher that it is acetonitrile.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Nigel, you were right.
Will's like, you were right. I didn't get anything.
I didn't understand any of that.
So the one
Yes.
that I looked up, where the guy also
There's gonna be comments about
Yeah.
Bernard drinking water out of a gallon jug. I've seen it twice now. You're like, yeah, this just jug.
this guy was using pesticides and he was like spraying it around the house, and he had some on his hand and he put his
Oh,
hand
yeah.
in his pants or
Yep.
something on accident, and it was called what's it called?
Paraquat. I was going to
Was a
do a video on
pesticide.
paraquat. In Asia, the handling, I guess the handling procedures are different than here, and in some places can be more relaxed. So the poisoning, that poisoning is pretty awful. There's also like organophosphates. So like people would fly in from.
Oh yeah, that's like
I've
dude,
made
that's
an
like the
organo
Are these
Perfect.
are these like active
the
I thought
pesticides?
I thought I nerve gassed.
Is this
What
stuff
you
that still
have?
exists,
They're-
or
I
has it been
realized
They
banned?
exist.
I'm not a bug.
They're not banned, but paraquat is like highly like there's a process for how you handle it. But in other countries, their process might differ.
You can buy
but
this
there's
off the
people who
shelf?
just drink it. No, you have to. There's
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait.
Well,
Wait,
so
why would they drink
so-
it? What?
so So just
Yeah,
kind of
it
like as a
used-
warning
it's
to
happened
the people listening,
on
but
accident.
some people they just want to end it, so they'll drink. So agricultural
Okay.
like agricultural
Pesticides.
accidents are like they're really brutal in a lot of cases, and the chemicals that are used, like it's okay if you spray it over hundreds of acres. It's not okay if you like drink it in a concentrated setting, right? So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A million
A
ppm.
million.
Let me tell you one of the symptoms this patient experienced: liver
no.
derangement.
Okay, yep.
I've never heard that term before,
Yep.
but wow, that paints a picture.
What does that mean?
It's from a different country. This is in Hong Kong Journal.
Yeah,
The
so
liver
think
it,
it's just like a
usually just
translation.
refers to it's usually just labs. So they'll do the blood, they'll take the blood, they'll do the measurement of the liver enzymes. So if the liver enzymes are high in the blood, that means that they've died and sloughed off into the blood. So that's why they say like derangements in liver.
Yeah. I
That
looked
just
it
means,
up.
like, the liver
It says
stopped doing
any
its thing.
biological parameter of LFT that is 1.5 times above the reference range.
Yeah.
Okay, what are other things I can drink that will make me sleep for
Wait,
forever?
other what?
Sorry, I just
What
saw
are
the
other-
pictures of this case.
What are other things I can drink that will make me sleep for forever?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, let's
Almost
yeah,
anything.
Let's not.
Anything in the pesticide aisle?
oh no.
I think it's like almost anything. Like I remember reading a story years ago about I don't know if this was I'm gonna look it up. It was about these people at a restaurant ended up drinking something, and I think one person died and the other person got really sick, and it's because they screwed up and somebody dropped like detergent into the drink, and it was like I think they only had a
Oh,
sip.
God,
Like
like
it was
industrial
just it
detergent.
wasn't that much, but it's like it's basic enough that it just completely neutralizes your stomach acid. And it just reeks. You have to get your stomach pumped like ASAP, or you almost and it burns your throat as it goes down. It's like it can be just really bad.
So if you get the
And I think it was
caustic
just-
injury, it's harder
If
to
you
Yeah.
go
pump
on
the
like
stomach because you got to stick the tube down, right?
I think
So-
some of it went into their lungs too, or something. Like it leaks into the lungs, and then they start having. And it's just like that was just from an accident. I thought about that later, and I was like,
like at the McDonald's when you like have the cup and then you get the Coca-Cola from the fountain. So sometimes the fountain cleaner, there's usually a very like tightly regulated process on how to clean that. But sometimes if somebody just uses something that they shouldn't use, and then the chemicals then.
or they like forget to purge.
Which would
the
never
lines.
happen at a restaurant run by a minimum
At
wage
McDonald's.
worker.
Well,
It's a
yeah,
basic
I mean,
job.
in that case, you just don't make the chemical available at all to them. So usually they just need the process for it.
Right.
But yeah.
If you go on like any Wikipedia article about some like dangerous chemical, there's usually some sources. It's like some stories about like the health and safety like section of the article. There's always like some horrible accident involving this chemical.
so. I want to say this is.
A
It
lot
was
of
like
like
the-
yeah.
I found the article. It says
NMDA.
somebody got served detergent instead of wine. I don't know how that's possible,
like straight up detergent.
but I think it was they determined it to be criminal because the police arrested the owner.
Oh.
It says it
One
said
time I
sorry. It
put
said it was
Gatorade
it said
in
it
a-
was mixed
I know.
with industrial strength detergent for some inexplicable reason. Like it had to be like a purposeful poison.
So
right?
it was wine.
The guy
It was
ordered
wine
wine, and they just poured
with detergent
detergent in
in
the
it.
cup instead.
But
No, I think it was just
wine
straight
mixed
detergent.
with detergent, or was it just?
So the guy only took one sip, but he kind of like swallowed it before he knew what it was.
Are
I think so.
And he died. Even. Wow.
was he already
Probably.
drunk?
But you
That's like the only
I don't think if
explanation
you-
is that they
if
were
you-
already like.
put like detergent in your mouth, and if you drank a little bit, I feel like you could swallow it before realizing.
Probably. I could see.
Why are restaurants using industrial detergent?
They use it
anyways?
for
That
like
feels kinda
dishwashers and
sketchy.
stuff.
Yeah, it comes in like concentrated pails, and you only have to add a couple like squirts into this huge,
Yeah.
like 25-gallon tub.
I'm just trying to imagine like how does somebody?
I think
decide
it was
to
just
put that in a
straight
cup? How does that
attempted murder.
happen?
Like I don't know how the case resolved,
so.
but it's like I don't think you can ever rationalize when you have like a 4-liter jug, like Bernard's drinking out of, and it has like skull and crossbones everywhere. You can't be like, oh, I thought that was the wine bottle.
Excuse me, it's just one. Okay.
I think we should ban soap in restaurants.
Just ban restaurants.
If restaurants
No
didn't
more
have
restaurants.
detergent. Well, no, we need the restaurants, but we just need them to stop
I mean,
using
wine
soap.
usually. I mean,
Only
wine
fire.
doesn't come from like a. It comes from a bottle.
Well, maybe
right?
this
So-
restaurant had really bad wine.
Yeah.
So Bernard, this is what I'm saying. One time, I needed a spray bottle, so I took Windex and I put it in a old Gatorade bottle, bright blue Windex,
Oh,
and
no.
my sister drank it. So
Is your sister still
I'm
with us?
just saying. She's still here. She's still here.
Fabuloso, the cleaner, like the household cleaner, Fabuloso, kind of looks like it looks like fruit punch. Yeah.
Looks like a fruit punch.
Also, who drinks a half drinking bottle of Gatorade under
How
the
old
bathroom
was your
counter?
sister?
Yeah.
Like
An idiot.
she probably
Too old for that shit.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Probably
Ah,
at
I
least
mean-
8 years old at that point.
And
Yeah.
any kid
Nah,
under the age, I'd say of 14, will eat things. It's like when I was in elementary school, we would have. I remember people would just eat bugs for no reason, and they're like 10.
Well, bugs are delicious.
No, people would just eat garbage. They would just. It's like why? Probably for attention, but it means it couldn't have been not like it couldn't have been so bad. You know what I mean?
I know college kids who will garbage
Eat
pick
bugs?
food because
Oh.
because it saves money, right? So
Yeah.
Where's Alan?
they garbage.
Wait, what
pick.
do they
So
do with
they'll
food?
they'll go to like
Pick it out of the
back the dumpster in
Oh.
the back of any one of the grocery stores or the gas stations and just kind of like pick out the food.
There's programs available.
There's
got to be programs
There's YouTube
available,
videos
you know?
that
There
talk
are.
about garbage picking food and like they do it and like they have this haul and there's like all this food. I've seen those videos because like when I made the gas station sushi video, part of that is like my own personal experience because I eat gas station sushi at least once a week. I said it in the video. But I also knew people who would garbage pick all the time and that's just, and they still do it today. And I'm just like, you guys are
Like on one hand, I used to work at a grocery store. I understand. We threw away a lot of stuff, like crackers, breads, stuff that, doesn't really expire, but man.
Oh no,
meat
yeah, you don't
or
do the
eggs or
meat.
anything like
That's,
that. Stay away.
sometimes people garbage pick the gas station
Or like
sushi. I mean,
perishables.
it's like, it looks fine.
I mean, I know people will do the perishable food, and that's
Yeah,
just
you're
sketchy.
playing with fire doing that stuff.
I feel like the money you save on the food will
Like
be
I think
easily
I think it's
accounted for with the
acceptable if like
hospital
you
bill.
have no other means, but if you're strictly doing it because you're cheap, it's kind of not worth the risk. Like if you
I
have the
think-
means, like if you're not, yeah, like if it's just to save money,
You can still be
Correct. Yeah,
selective
yeah,
about
yeah.
what you're picking too. You don't have to pick
no, but to
like
really
don't pick
save,
the things that are
you
like
can't be selective.
But the thing, grocery stores, they just like really pile it all in there. It's like a nasty soup of just.
But
Feels
I worked
kinda-
at a grocery store, and some of the stuff that we threw out, I mean, a lot of the stuff we threw out was just horrendous that we shouldn't have thrown out.
Yeah.
But then some of the stuff that I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, if you ate this, I would be a little bit concerned.
Dude. So you
for
worked in a
few
grocery
months.
store
Oh,
too?
Bernard did.
Did you
Yeah,
ever?
I worked
Oh,
at,
Bernard,
a,
you did
at a
too.
super Target. So we had like frozen food and meat. And what's funny is they have a
Yeah.
walkie where they call people. And on my first day, I'm in the bathroom and I left my walkie on and the thing goes off and it says frozen Bernard. And I'm sitting on the toilet and there's a guy next to me starts laughing. And I'm just thinking, oh no, like, do I respond? And like, it's my first day. So I'm like, I have to respond. So I'm like, this is frozen Bernard. Can I help you find something? And then the guy next to me he starts dying of laughing. And I'm like, oh no. And then the guy on the walkie says, what is your location? And I'm just thinking, oh no. So I'm like, Frank, I'm on the jaw and I can't talk right now. And then I like turn my walkie off, and then the dude in the next stall is just laughing, and I'm like, okay. So I finished what I needed to do, and then I walk out, and there's like a group of people that were working in electronics like pointing and laughing at me because I'm like the new dude who like told everyone that I'm taking a dump across all the walkies through the whole store.
That's why you just got to be super aggressive when you answer a question. You're like,
Bernard,
I'm
you
taking
should've-
a
should've
shit.
with no shame, just being like, I'm on the toilet. What's up? It's just like,
No, don't
Yeah.
even say you're on the toilet. Say exactly what you're doing, and they'll
I'm
never
in
ask
stall
you again.
3 of the
Stall 3, taking a little bit of
50% to 50%.
It's not the greatest shit I've ever had.
It's still pretty noteworthy, though.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come check it out.
Yeah, it's not my biggest ever, but
That's
you're
so
more
bad.
welcome
Your
to
first day, you're
investigate.
just trying so hard to not. I mean, just to fit in. That's
Yeah, and like I was in high school, so that was like my first like big job outside of like working for this chef. But it was we threw away so much meat and like frozen food, and like you couldn't take it home. Like there was a manager who wrote somebody up on my team for taking home like some turkey. It was like a frozen turkey that they just tossed, and it's like it wasn't even expired or anything. They're like, oh well, Thanksgiving's over, we're not selling turkey anymore. And the dude was like, no, like you're gonna throw that meat away. It's like a 20-pound turkey. But yeah, no, grocery stores sometimes
Wow.
it is a little bit gratuitous for the waste, but I kind of get it from their end too.
I was at
If stuff is gonna make people sick, you just don't even want to take the chance.
No, there's a whole liability thing where if they give it to the employees and the employee gets sick, then they're liable, and like, so it's like just to.
No, that's all bullshit. That's all, just say you
There's also-
can't sue
But
me.
but
you
even
eat
if
this
they
food.
write
It's
a
bad.
clause
It's
saying you can't sue
expired.
you, they can sue you.
Yeah.
But
Well, they should
You
be
can
able
s-
to. It should be like any
but
judge
you still,
that
I'm
What-
just saying, you
hears
still their
What
their
they should
resolution is
do-
just don't deal with any of it. It's you're not allowed eating it, so you can't sue me.
It's not even worth the risk on their end.
Yeah, the problem is people are so like they're so sue happy here that like this is why we can't have nice things. I think what they should do is instead of like don't let the employees take it, but have some other thing like donating it to like soup kitchens and stuff, where it's like you have
Yeah.
a more explicit rule in place where if you donate food to the kitchen, they have to sign
Drop
it
it
off,
off
and they're
anonymously
responsible
or
for
something.
determining if it's good or not. And that way you don't have that weird conflict of interest where it's like employees are just like purposefully making food disappear so they can take it or whatever, because I know that does happen, but then you're
So
still not
some
just throwing it in the
cities do
freaking
have
dumpster.
programs like I volunteered at this thing in Philly called Philabundance, and they get food that would have been I don't know if it would have been tossed or if it's donated, but like I was in that refrigerator sorting out foods. This was just a couple of years ago. Some of the stuff though was like clearly bad, and you had to toss it. But
Right.
Yeah, we have something like that here too. All Faiths Food Bank. You know, we would, not my store, but like other stores would donate to them, and it would be, you know, perishable stuff, but it would only be in there for like a couple days before it was gone. But anybody could come in and get it. But with my store, it was it wasn't a big chain. It was independent, so we kind of had a lot more leeway with what we could take home after that. But then they told us that we couldn't do that anymore, but we
It
still
just-
would.
dude,
And I would
like,
know.
this
I would
is-
know what's about to expire, and I was like, "Oh yes, I'm getting those chips tonight. It's gonna be so good."
Here, this is
You know, I
this is
would
what
never
happens.
steal, but
We
I
actually
at
just
think we
companies.
should
would
wrap
throw it
up
away.
eventually.
You have like oh yeah, we'll wrap. Okay. You work at a company. They have free sodas. Somebody comes in every day and like just grabs like 12 sodas and takes it back to their desk, and they take them home.
I worked at a
that
company
kind of
that
stuff.
they gave free soda. There were free vending machines, and you could take as much soda as you
Yeah.
want. And what they did, this will bring us full circle, was that the sodas were a tax write-off as a benefit to the employees. And so they didn't care how much, like, oh, you want to take home this 24-pack of Coke Zero?
Right.
Yeah, please. And then, yeah, so that was, yeah,
Right,
but
that's
that brings us
fine.
full circle.
Back to taxes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I have one more
we should
grocery
talk
store
about-
question.
Okay.
Did you guys ever find anything like super nasty in the grocery store? Like a product that was expired or something that was sitting on the shelf, like a seal was broken on some
I found
spaghetti
something.
sauce.
I never worked at a grocery store though.
And it's like, or like sometimes what would happen is the people would like open the meats or the deli meats, like cut open the box, like slice it open, put it on the shelf, and there would be a big, huge razor blade. They'd slash the package open, then the meat would like sit back there for a while until it got like green and nasty. And then when it comes time for somebody to like buy it, the next one up is like some nasty meat and they bring it forward. I've seen pasta sauce with mushrooms growing out of it.
Maybe
dude.
mine was just managed pretty well.
swear
I
to
didn't
God.
see anything.
At Target, we had something called QMOS. It was quantity mark out of stock. That was like kind of the stuff that you were going to get rid of. The dairy and the meats. So sometimes the ground beef, the package will just like look like it's exploding, and that's just because there's so much gas that's built up from the rotten meat. But the thing is, it used to be you had to cut it open and toss the actual meat and recycle the package. So sometimes we would cut open the meat, and then the gas would, just blow in your face, and you just catch a whiff of like rotten meat, and it might be like 3 weeks old or something.
Oh my god. I saw a jar of peanut butter that had been like chewed open by a rat in a 99-cent store.
Yeah,
Were you
I
there
was
with
there.
us? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did we take pictures? That was insane.
I think we did.
Dude.
It
That
was just
insane.
a jar of peanut butter, and the backside of it was completely like the plastic was completely chewed open, like a huge pocket.
And you could see like the little paw
Yeah,
marks like
where
reaching
they were like,
into the.
yeah. That was definitely one of the worst
was
I've ever seen,
wild.
because that did not make it on the shelf like that.
And it must have been on the shelf for a while too.
Yeah, like holy. That's good. The ending is how we end. Then we go to the Patreon. Oh yeah, we forgot to say that the last week's Patreon one got kind of messed up. We can't do screen shares here. It's just bad. We have to figure something else out. So, see you guys Patreon.
Yeah.
Thanks Bernard, Chubby Emu.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
Wait.
Day. A week late.
Two
How
weeks
are we
later.
a week ahead? I don't even know anymore.
I think we're only a week ahead now. We got to be good about this.
I know.
All right. Thanks to our sponsor.
Patreon supporters.
Anime.
Those are actually the sponsors.
Anime was
Yeah.
the sponsor.
This one's for you Patreon supporters.
Yeah. Shout out. How many people? It's like 400 people?
Oh, wow.
400.
Is it? I don't know. It's a lot. The Discord is like popping.
Join this science gang, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun on Patreon. There's actually some really cool and interesting and smart people there. Cool projects. A lot of people with really big peepees on the Patreon server.
Yeah. If I want to do some challenges too. I still have the other CT scan, or I shouldn't have said that out loud. The other challenge I want to do with the gift cards. Damn it. We already did the first one. People already know what it is. It's just gonna be more complicated. All right.
You there?
Patreon. We'll see everyone
All right,
later.
Patreon.
All the
See you guys.
normies. We'll see you later, and everyone, all the epic gamers, chads that support us on Patreon. We'll see you in a second or a day. I don't know. Usually, I'm bad at editing, getting the the Patreon episode out like a day later.
All right, we're leaving for real
All
this
right,
time.
bye.